So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our Planets through Ascendant series of the week. And today we're going to be covering Mars in the sixth house in the sign of Virgo for Aries ascendant people. As in, what happens when Mars is in the sixth house while it rules the first house and the eighth house. And as always, if you do not know if you have this particular position, what sign it's in, what nakshatra it's in, all the other astrological details. For that, check out the links here. Check out my full astrological reporting through my books, consultations, and link to my academy, Vedic Astrology Academy, where you will also see my latest video on KRS vlogs related to predicting with one sign for all ascendant. And I'm going to be uploading the second part to that tonight or tomorrow because I just came back from my mini vacation. I needed to have a vacation. I've worked too hard, okay? Anyway, let's talk about Mars in the sixth house for Aries ascendant. Now, as you know, each placement of planet, regardless if it's benefic or malefic, they'll all have their dramatic, negative, things that, we can kind of observe. But of course, I kind of stay out of those dramatic ones. Okay, we will discuss certain things, but I stay out of those dramatic ones because you really want to say that to someone in a certain state of age, in a certain query that somebody's trying to ask you. So the first thing you will see with Mars in the sixth house in Virgo is that this person has to fulfill certain debts of their ancestors. Mars in the sixth house, this person will be obligated to fight for either ancestral property, fighting for the ancestral name, because Mars is a natural karaka of the third and sixth house. Okay, and because it rules the first house represents you, right? So who are you? You got to think about it. You are coming from a permanent lineage, right? Because we're never born in the same family. We're born in different countries, different races. We experience different things. But then there is this one core that you have been coming through. That's one. And the second layer is the family that you're born in. Then you also have to take on that lineage's curses or that lineage's blessings. Okay. So because it's first house placement, Mars will control that. So any ascendant, whether it's Moon, Jupiter, they will show not only your own karma, but it'll also show karmas of the lineage. Now, especially one could be saying that, okay, well, I don't have ancestral property. I don't have ancestral debt. First of all, ancestral debt doesn't always have to do with money. It could do with anything. It could do with health. Like, for example, here, Mars, which represents the Pitta energy, the fire energy, goes into the sixth house in Virgo, which represents more of the Kapha energy. So you will see these people always tend to deal with constipation, will deal with digestive issues. Okay. That's one of the things. And specifically, they have to deal with disputes with the brother, especially regards to property, if there's property involved. Now, when it comes to ancestral property, I have seen this. Even when a person didn't have anything to do with property, they're living in an apartment, they know they don't have any land. You will see in Mars Dasha, especially I've observed this with Yogini Dasha, there'll be a situation where they will donate to a cause, a worldly cause related to ancestors. For example, I've had people who actually went to, I believe it was Iowa, or what is this other place? Idaho. One of those places. They were there and they actually became part of this Indian tribe that were protesting related to gas pipeline being built on ancestral Indian land. I guess they were there with a friend and they witnessed it. They were like all into it. They were actually rooting for these people. People have donated to save this particular national monument or this particular national park. So what is it that's ancestors? It's ancestral land. So that's what a person will deal with. One of the things you also see naturally, and again, it's a common thing, but yes, specifically you can see it in a chart like this where the in-laws, you had tremendous amount of disputes with the in-laws, and those disputes will either happen related to the joint assets, because what happens here is in-laws will be like, oh, you're not giving enough money or allowance to our daughter, or you're spending too much money of our daughter's income or our son's income. They're going to complain about those things. Either that, or you'll get into a dispute with them related to your health. You're not taking care of your health and they're worried about your health. Those things will cause issues and arguments. Yet at the same time, this is a very feminine Mars. Mars isn't the most feminine. I wouldn't say most feminine because that would really be Capricorn, but Virgo is the virgin, right? Virgo is the virgin, and Virgo represents innocence, purity. So one thing we see with this particular Mars in this sign, that they become very innocent about helping other people. Their whole dharma kind of becomes about wanting to protect, wanting to serve. They have this like innocence about, helping individual. So you must be thinking, well, Mars is a masculine sign. It's in a feminine sign. How can it, protect and help other people? Actually, I've done readings for police officers. It hasn't been that much. I think I have probably 3 or 4 charts saved of police officers. 2 of them actually had Mars in feminine signs. So feminine energy does not mean weak energy. If you understand Purusha and Prakriti, Purusha represents this pure being, the one who is kind of like knows their aim is to realize God. Prakriti is the one that brings in this physical form for this Purusha to deal with. Prakriti is a very powerful thing. It's a powerful energy. Feminine energy can be strong, can be even destructive, like if you look at Kali. So don't ever look at feminine sign as a weak sign. It's just a more intuitive and nurturing sign whenever you're looking at a feminine sign. And of course, this particular Mars also shows one gets into, battles with their co-workers because of the fact they will always either have health-related products with them that may annoy the co-workers. They will be very meticulous about their diet. They will become very picky. So if the whole office is wanting to go and eat here, this person will just not eat anything, and they will create this bit of an animosity with their co-workers, because 6th house represents the people that you work with. Sure, 3rd house is also co-workers, but 6th house is service. Where is your service happening? It's in office, it's in a workplace. But because it's your ascendant Lord, it becomes that cause that your diet, and your health becomes that cause of that argument. The other thing we also see here is that for this individual, their biggest aim becomes serving a large organization and wanting to be recognized at a large organization, wanting to be appreciated, See, some people, like if you even look at me, I've worked with so many companies. I never cared if they appreciated me or not. I just wanted my check so I could just go home because I had no interest in that work. These are the people that will take that interest and they will try to show that interest. Why? Because of the fact now that we're looking at the ascendant Lord as Aries. The Pada of Mars lands itself in the 11th house, the Arudha Pada. It's a very big thing to always look at the Arudha Pada of the ascendant. And here, the reason why they fight for their recognition is because that is something that gets dissolved. That is something that always they feel unappreciated in their work, because from the Arudha, Mars goes into the 8th. If you guys know the concept of Arudha Lagna, okay? The way we calculate Arudha Lagna is the point which is ending up in the 11th house. I don't want to discuss this whole thing about how to calculate it. But for an Aries ascendant, this particular Mars will land itself, it's Arudha, meaning how the world is looking at you. So with Mars in the 8th house in Virgo, people will look at this individual as weak. And they're not weak. But the world looks at it. They're like, where's your courage? You will see this with Mars in the 6th house. People will say, come on, you got to show some courage. You got to show some strength. You got to be bold enough to do that. And you're like, I am bold. But whatever I do, you're not able to see it. Or you're looking at the other way when I'm actually doing the bold things. And especially also such people have the tendency to get into debt related to gambling. Either gambling, and you may not be a gambler, you may not be a degenerate gambler, but what happens is sometimes everybody gets influenced by other people, and especially this particular Mars gets influenced a lot because in the sign of Mercury. Mercury is a very influential planet. It listens there. Oh, what do you have to say? Listen there. Oh, what do you have to say? And it's a Multrikon sign of Mercury. So through some influence, let's say this person invests in stocks. Especially nowadays, wants to get into cryptocurrency. They're like, okay, I'll just buy something on my credit card. I know this coin is going to go up, 5x in the next 2 weeks. And in the next 2 weeks, it actually goes down 3 times and does not move. And now you have to deal with those losses that you have put on your credit card, because they will have the tendency to wanting to make money by borrowing money. Now, can they do that? Well, obviously, how is Mercury placed? So we're not talking about that. But it shows that weakness of this Mars. That, okay, these are because it's a very innocent sign, Virgo. It's a very childlike sign, Virgo, okay? They have this childlike thing like, oh, yeah, I'll just take it. Something somehow, some way will manifest and will work out. And that becomes their weak point, is to not take on debt. Because that is becoming one of your reasons for birth, is either to deal with your own debt, ancestral debt, or even having a work related dealing with debts of other people. For example, people become debt counselors. This would be that Mars. But the most important thing is that, number one, you are here to serve. If you don't serve, you cannot find your success. If you're in some position, in some corporate career, that is nothing to do with serving. You're doing some analysis work. You're doing some kind of market analysis, crunching some numbers. That's not serving. Serving is when you go out there like, hey, what's your need? Okay, I'm here to help. And serving not somebody up high, serving somebody low, meaning serving a common man. So let's say, for example, you do debt analysis, you're an accountant for a big corporation. It will never make you fulfilled until you actually, let's say, help out somebody for free for their taxes. Somebody has an issue with some loan. You're like, okay, let me help you out with this. Okay, so you put in the thing, you crunch your numbers. You're like, listen, you have to do this and this, and you'll get this loan. Now, either you can go into service with that, or you can just give that service maybe once a week, once a month, but you're going to have to. Until that is there, Mars's lotus will not flourish. Okay. Now, of course, there's many other things, which, like I said, I don't tend to discuss here. So anyway, if you're new to my channel, subscribe below so you don't miss these type of videos. Good thing I ended right now. Joey is taking one of my daughter's toy. She's running after him, of course. I love this home. But anyway, and if you want to know anything about your Mars position, consultations, and my academy, check out the links here. Otherwise, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.